You've heard it 1,000 times. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's on gym walls, in self-help books, captioned under Instagram posts, a mantra for overcoming hardship, a promise that suffering leads to growth. But here's what nobody tells you. Nietzsche wasn't giving you a motivational quote, he was issuing a warning, and most people completely miss what he was actually saying. Because the full truth is far more disturbing than any inspirational poster would ever admit. What doesn't kill you might make you stronger, or it might make you bitter, broken, cruel, twisted. The question isn't whether you'll survive suffering, it's who you'll become because of it. The misunderstanding. When Nietzsche wrote, "Was mich nicht umbringt, macht mich stärker," what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, he wasn't celebrating suffering. He was observing a terrifying truth about human nature. Suffering doesn't automatically create strength. It creates change, and that change can go in any direction. Think about the people you know who've suffered greatly. Some emerged compassionate, wise, resilient. Others became harsh, closed off, vindictive. Same suffering, opposite outcomes. The difference? It's not the suffering itself. It's what you do with it, how you interpret it, who you choose to become because of it. Modern culture has sanitized Nietzsche's observation into a guarantee. Suffer and you'll grow. Struggle and you'll strengthen. Endure and you'll evolve. But Nietzsche knew better. He saw that suffering is neutral. It's raw material. And like any raw material, it can be shaped into something beautiful or something monstrous. The dark side of suffering. Let me tell you what actually happens when suffering doesn't make you stronger. You develop coping mechanisms that become prisons. That childhood trauma didn't make you independent. It made you unable to trust. That toxic relationship didn't make you wiser. It made you suspicious of love. That failure didn't build character. It built fear. You see this everywhere once you look. The bullied child who becomes the bully. The abandoned partner who abandons others first. The criticized employee who becomes the hypercritical boss. They survived their suffering, yes. But they didn't transcend it. They became it. This is what Nietzsche understood that motivational speakers don't. Suffering is a forge, but not everyone emerges as a sword. Some emerge as twisted metal, harder, yes, but also brittle. Sharp, but prone to breaking. Strong in some ways, broken in others. The suffering addiction, here's where it gets even darker. Some people become addicted to suffering because they've been told it makes them stronger. They seek out hardship, create drama, sabotage their own happiness. Why? Because they've internalized the lie that suffering equals growth. They stay in abusive relationships because it's making them stronger. They overwhelm themselves with impossible challenges because pressure creates diamonds. They wear their trauma like a badge of honor, collecting wounds like trophies. Look how much I've suffered, they say. Look how strong I must be. But they're not strong. They're traumatized, and they're traumatizing themselves further because they've confused suffering with meaning, pain with purpose, damage with depth. They've missed Nietzsche's actual point entirely. Nietzsche's real message. Nietzsche wasn't prescribing suffering. He was describing a possibility, and more importantly, he was describing a choice. When suffering comes, and it will come, you stand at a crossroads. You can let it make you stronger, or you can let it make you weaker, harder, smaller, meaner. The strength Nietzsche talks about isn't physical. It isn't even psychological in the way we usually think. It's existential. It's the strength to create meaning from meaninglessness, to impose your will on a chaos, to say yes to life even when life says no to you. This is why he connected this idea to his concept of the Übermensch, the overman. Not someone who seeks suffering, but someone who transforms it, who takes the raw material of pain and creates something beyond good and evil, beyond revenge and resentment. beyond the petty human need to make others suffer as you've suffered. The transformation choice. Every time you suffer, you face a fundamental choice that most people don't even realize they're making. Will you become what hurt you, or will you become something new? The abused child can become an abuser or a protector. The betrayed lover can become cynical or wise. The failed entrepreneur can become fearful or fearless. Same suffering, different choices, different outcomes. And here's the crucial part. The choice isn't made once. It's made every day. Every time the trauma resurfaces. Every time the wound reopens. Every time you're tempted to let your suffering define you rather than refine you. You choose stronger or harder, wiser or bitter, larger or smaller. The warning. So this is Nietzsche's warning. Suffering is coming. It's inevitable. It's part of the human condition. But suffering alone doesn't make you stronger. Your response to suffering does. And most people respond in ways that make them weaker, not stronger. More defended, not more open. More afraid, not more courageous. They survive, but they don't thrive. They endure, but they don't transform. They carry their suffering like armor, not realizing it's become a cage. They think they're strong because they're hard, but hardness isn't strength. Sometimes it's just scar tissue that won't let anything in or out. True strength, the kind Nietzsche was pointing toward, is the ability to suffer without becoming suffering, to be wounded without becoming the wound, to experience pain without becoming pain, to face the abyss without becoming the abyss. The alchemy. The real question isn't whether what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's what kind of strength are you creating? Is it the strength of walls or bridges? The strength of weapons or tools? The strength of resistance or resilience? Nietzsche knew that suffering could be alchemized into power, but not automatically, not inevitably, only through conscious choice, through what he called self-overcoming. The decision to use suffering as fuel for transformation rather than justification for stagnation. This requires something most people aren't willing to do. To take responsibility not just for their response to suffering, but for who they become because of it. To stop using trauma as an excuse and start using it as material. To stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? The paradox. Here's the ultimate paradox in Nietzsche's warning. The people who become genuinely stronger through suffering are those who don't seek it out, who don't glorify it, who don't wear it as an identity. They simply accept it when it comes, transform it, and move forward. They don't say, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, as a mantra. They live it as a practice, quietly, without announcement. Without seeking validation for their pain or recognition for their resilience. They just transform and keep transforming until the suffering becomes irrelevant, until the wound becomes a source of wisdom, not weakness. The call to action. Look at your own suffering, the things that didn't kill you. Did they really make you stronger, or did they make you harder, more defensive, more afraid? Be honest, brutally honest. Because until you acknowledge what suffering has actually done to you, you can't choose what to do with it. Your suffering is not your fault, but what you become because of it. That's your responsibility, your choice, your creation. You can let it make you smaller or larger, bitter or wise, closed or open, weak or strong. But understand this. Strength isn't guaranteed. It's earned through conscious choice. Through daily decisions, through the willingness to transform rather than just survive, through the courage to become more than your suffering, not just someone who survived it. So I ask you, what suffering are you carrying that you've told yourself made you stronger? And if you're honest, really honest, did it? Or did it just make you different? And if it didn't make you stronger, what would it take to transform it now? Not to forget it, not to minimize it, but to alchemize it into actual strength. Comment below. But more importantly, choose. Because your suffering is waiting to become something. The question is, what will you make it become? If this revealed uncomfortable truths about your pain, subscribe, because real philosophy doesn't comfort you. It challenges you to become who you're capable of becoming, and that journey starts with honesty about who you are.